I also threw an agent at a problem that I've tried and failed at.
Is this your Dockerizing the development environment?
Redockerizing.
Redockerizing.
Redockerizing. This is a project that has a
Redockerizing.
very large, many services, you know, huge code base, lots of historical.
Very legacy.
Yeah, I mean, not in the most derogatory use of legacy.
No, but my use of legacy these days is not amenable to development with AI, which includes all of those feedback loops.
Right. This was more about human ergonomics, I think, than about AI ergonomics. But it's just a project that was Dockerized for development, but it was Dockerized for development before dev containers were really a thing. And so, it was Dockerized in an era where doing that for development meant bringing up your production containers or something close to them.
Oh, back before we said no, do not develop in production like containers. That's ridiculous.
Right. This was, it's a whole fleet of production like containers, and anything that you do in development is actually executed through one of the containers, but there's no concept of like a main container that you're in the way you have with dev containers. And so this was several times I've tried to redo it in a modern dev container way. And there's just so much. There's so much. And so much like Baroque setup of different services. But this weekend I threw Augie at it, the CLI version with Opus.
So the augment CLI
and I gave it a lot of instruction, and a lot of instruction for like, you will need to read through all of, like all these service setup things before you can possibly understand what's going on here. And, it actually has, it has a big enough capabilities to read and a big enough context window that it was able to really like, it took a better shot at it than I have in the past. Let's put it that way. Like, we're not all the way there, but I think we might actually land it this time. We'll see.
So something that wasn't feasible for you to do as a human.
Yeah, it's just
because it was too much for your context window.
And especially as a development greasing task.
Scaffolding.
As opposed to getting something to users. It was too much for me to spend a couple of weeks on, teasing through all the different dependencies and all the different like surprises about how services need to be brought up in order to talk to each other. So that was nice. Like I said, we're not all the way there, but I think we might actually get up there.
That's a good example of tasks we didn't get to do before.
Yeah.
Because the scaffolding is part of what is accelerating to us about working with agents is that we can do scaffolding tasks like that we couldn't before. And that scaffolding is there to make us faster and the agents. Now we can shave more yaks.
Yes. It does make me think, though, as it becomes more feasible to do those kind of scaffolding tasks, we may also find that they are less needed.
Oh, like development environments? But development environments are huge because that's how the agents get the feedback loops. So Noah, we need more scaffolding because the agents need more scaffolding than we did.
Right.
We could
with some
look with our eyeballs at the animation every time we change something.
Mm-hmm.
It can't. It needs more scaffolding.
Yeah.
Of some sort or another. It needs more scaffolding so that it can go really fast.
Yeah.
So no, I actually think it's mostly more. But some of them not. Like
well, and part of what I mean is, with some projects, this one is a bad example because it's so large. But with some projects, it becomes more and more feasible to, knock it over and run a new one in.
that's the recreate, right?
Yeah.
When the prompt
with a modern, with a modern development setup, it becomes easier. More and more projects become reproducible.
Somebody said to me this week, and they were griping about another person saying, well, if it wrote it, it can maintain it, which we all know is not true because we can all write code that we cannot maintain.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. That does not.
Right.
Yeah.
But it wrote it, it can write it again. That is true.
Yes.
It created it, it can recreate it.
Yeah.
Yes. So if this isn't like a super performance sensitive, careful thing that we need to like tweak and make just so, if it's something we can define the spec well enough that it can recreate it, yeah, we don't have to maintain it. You need this feature different, change the prompt and generate it again. Plop it into the test harness and you're fine. Test harness though. That's the scaffolding.
Do you think agent assisted development might change the calculus on microservice architecture?
In the sense that like the Chad Fowler vision for microservice
Kind of
architecture was
disposable.
always disposable
Yeah.
microservices. Yeah, you need to change it. You don't write Haskell, fine.
Yeah.
Throw it away and write it in whatever you want
I
to.
mean, it fell down.
We're getting back to that.
It fell down in the combinatoric complexity between the services.
Right.
Like that's
But
where it fell apart
the
for
agent
us.
can rewrite at a bigger scale than
Yeah,
we could rewrite in a
exactly.
trivial amount of time. It can write something pretty big in a trivial amount of time.
Yeah.
So, and it can write the scaffolding that makes that safer.
Right. Automatically exposing APIs and stuff like that, or schemas.
Yeah, and generating test apps and or test clients in
Right.
6 different languages.
Exactly. Yeah.
And fakes and
at the
then
same,
contract tests that make sure you match what your fake does and blah 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 blah.
but then at the same time, the microservice like size is more amenable to an agent actually maintaining it as opposed to
right.
monoliths, which they will inevitably write something that they can't maintain.
Right. And so, and another of the pain of microservices was you've got 6 services in a chain and you need to pass another parameter. Oh my God.
Right.
But you know what? Hey, make this parameter. Hey, make this parameter. Hey, make this parameter. Hey, make this.
Right.
Done. It just, that is feasible now. That kind of cross system change that's really well defined and follows established patterns is
Yeah.
not a problem.
Right. And then prove it. Right. Because we can also tell
Yeah.
the agent, okay, now prove,
Yeah.
fire them all up and prove that you can get that parameter from.
Yeah, and those damn end-to-end tests that are such a pain, like your many connected services that you're trying to Dockerize, it's more feasible to write those tests, to change them frequently, and to investigate flakiness.
Yeah.
We can stick an agent on all of those things, so we can have nicer things now.
I'm not saying it's a good idea to move everything to microservices again, but it's an interesting.
But it's
thought.
more feasible, and the services don't need to be as tiny,
Yeah.
but also, the size of the microservices is what Chuck Miller always wanted.
Yeah.
One that you can rewrite in a trivial amount of time. It's just that that's a lot bigger than it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's kind of getting to the utopian microservices vision at a size of service that's a lot more practical
Right.
and at a change frequency that's higher than people could support.
Yeah. That would be interesting to explore for something greenfield, maybe. You've just been listening to Machines of Code and Grace.
I'm Jessitron.
And I'm Avdi. And this is a podcast where we have discussions about the joys and the challenges of being a full circle developer.
Because our job isn't writing code. Our job is building and improving feedback loops. Those loops include our code and our coding agents and our teams.
And operations and our users and the larger communities that we work in.
Like this one. That's why each episode we bring you 10 minutes of discussion about what we're learning from our work right now.
But the conversation doesn't have to stop there. If you like what you just heard, why not head over to
graceful.dev/machines. Sign up for our Code and Grace newsletter.
Yeah, we'll send you some key takeaways from our recent episodes, hand-selected by humans.
That's us.
And along with that, we'll send you some news, some links to some of our favorite things.
Again, that's graceful.dev/machines. What else will they get, Avdi?
I'm glad you asked, Jessitron, because we'll also send you an extra good discount for a pro subscription to Graceful Dev.
That's where you can get access to hundreds of videos and dozens of courses for growing your programming practice.
Also, before you go, if you liked what you heard, why not subscribe to the podcast so you can join us next time on Machines of Code and Grace.
See you soon.